Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to go follow on my Twitch, please. Here you will never miss out on daily Payday content. The best armor builds video. To start it off, it has consistent 2-shot armor inside of ICTB right off the rip inside the build. So that means it can tank 2 shots of the 225 as soon as you play the build. Next is CTV being at 181 armor value. The heavy ballistic vest and the flak jacket, both notably with Iron Man, getting 148 armor value, which we'll get to here shortly. And then the last one being the suit, rocking it at 27 armor value. Inside the ICTB, you're capable of getting 3-shot armor, and this is how. You will need to have Frenzy for 25% damage reduction, and that will change 225 into 168. Now, you'll need a 10% damage reduction either from first aid kits and or underdog to knock off another 22.5 from the 225 damage value, making it a 146.25 damage as the total being taken to you. Now, 280 minus 146.25 is going to leave you with 133.75. If you are to hit a bullseye aced for 25 armor, that will make your 133.75 plus the 25 armor to be a 158.75. That 158.75, if taking a 146 again, you'll be left with 12.5 armor, meaning that's a 3-shot armor from this method, which is Frenzy, First Aid Kits, and or Underdog for 10% damage reduction. The next method is Crew Chief, offering you more armor and more damage reduction, so right off the rip it's just an easy 3-shot consistent without needing the trigger of a bullseye, ace, or needing First Aid Kit damage reduction or Underdog. It's just right off the rip from the Crew Chief. The next method is Maniac, giving you 48 absorption. I have 280 armor value, minus the 168, which is Frenzy, and if I have 24 absorption pulled off of 168, it now makes it 144. So 280 minus 144 equals 136 armor value. So if you hit a bullseye ace for 25 armor value in this situation, that'll leave you with 3-shot armor, because 136 plus the 25 will equal 161. The 161 minus another 144 will equal out to be 17, which there's your 3 shots. The last method is being Tag Team's absorption of 20 points, which is very similar in the other ways. You have 280, minus the 168 of Frenzy, so if you remove the 20 points from the 168, it is now 148. So 148 to the 280 leaves you with 132. So if the player hits a bullseye for 25 armor value, you get 157. Which is 132 plus 25, which is what equals 157. So the 157 minus a 148 will equal 9 armor, which gives you 3-shot armor inside of the tag team method. So to point it out, the 10% damage reduction is near equal to getting the 24 absorption from Maniac, and is also similar to getting the 20 absorption from the tag team. So people want to believe that 10% damage reduction isn't worth grabbing. But now I have pointed it out that these absorption values are the same as that 10% damage reduction value. So does that mean that amount isn't worth? I'd say no, because now seeing that inside of Armorer, it can offer you 3-shot armor instead of these armor values that you can pair together. And if you pair together all of these, like the Crew Chief with the Tag Team, the Maniac, and the Armorer, they'll all be buffing each other. So now to touch back on that 148 armor value that I mentioned earlier, because this one will get you smiling. The heavy ballistic vest and the flak jacket inside of Iron Man are the ones that get that 148.5. If you have the Frenzy paired with the extra damage reduction from skills or a teammate like Crew Chief, that's 2-shot armor. And also, as I mentioned, if it's paired with another teammate like Tag Team or Maniac, that's also 2-shot armor. The examples are 25% Frenzy and First Aid Kits or Underdog for the extra 10 will change that damage value to 146.25, which on a 148.5, that's 2-shot armor. The Crew Chief is offering you more armor and more damage reduction, which will make the 2-shot much easier. The Maniac is making 168 into 144, so your 148.5 is now 2-shot armor. The Tag Team is making it just 148, with like a .75 at the end. So you will need to be needing something like Forced Friendship and a bunch of civs tied up, or you'll need extra damage reduction from the skills to make the 148 damage lower than what it is, so that you can actually be able to have 2-shot armor. 2-second invincibility inside of this build, with normally 2-shot armor in most of your setups, will allow you the ability to attack aggressively and defend as one of the best, decks in the game, because you'll be able to hold angles and hold positions, unlike, some of the other perks. The 2-shot armor, 2-shot HP, and the 2 seconds invincibility. Let me explain, because you can use 2-shot armor and 1-shot HP for roughly 1 second of 225 damage, considering 0.35 is grace period. So if you're using HP based setup inside of ICTB, you can offer an HP shot to the 225 before a down. So if the player doesn't have 2 seconds active, or maybe you just used it, you're still able to make a mistake for those 3 shots to ring through. The better you play, the better you position, your 2-second invincibility pretty much covers your HP from ever taking damage, even inside of HP setups. CTV is 2-shot is something that's not really common in every perk deck, but it is capable of doing. But the armor is one of the perk decks that can 2-shot CTV because it gets 181 armor value. So if you're just using simply just Frenzy, you change 225 to 168, making 181 2-shot armor, simply. The last thing I want to mention is if you zerk yourself to have 1-shot kill ability on certain damage values, if you choose to zerk yourself like at the start of a heist, and doing this will be part of your survival, since you'll be able to kill the cops faster than they can shoot at you, and that's what's really going to be the difference maker here. But it also is if you don't miss your shots. You have to be the one shooting first and hitting first. Also, here's a special thanks for those who had helped me out in the Discord, who actually gave some tips when I had asked. I do sincerely appreciate it, and here's your special thanks. The Armorer DMR build, and here at the beginning I'm going to show you how it is easily able to zerk inside the Armorer build. You normally need something like a light unit, a first responder, a shield, a minigun, a captain shield, a cloaker, a medic. There's multiple options, but this is how you do it. Now, to get into the build, the DMR that you're using really doesn't matter here, since it's not a concealment build. Really, you're just getting the DMR for the damage shield is what we're going for. The accuracy that is used in the DMR is going to help you for distance shooting. Since keeping distance will affect the cops from targeting you, the farther you are away, the harder you are to get targeted. You have 1-shot kill ability on the DMR weapon if you choose to zerk yourself at the start of a heist. Doing this will be part of your survival, since you'll be able to kill the cops faster than they can shoot at you, and that's if you don't miss your shots. The secondary SMG I choose is the 9mm blaster. I choose this for ammo economy, and it's to refill my primary DMR weapon, mostly. The SMG has a lot of options to choose from, meaning you can choose either the 9mm blaster, or you have 100 other options to choose from. We just went for something that has high fire rate, low damage tier, because when we have zerk, we'll be able to kill common enemies and even specials with this damage type. And it's also sometimes the best to pull out this SMG to bust a faceplate off a dozer, and then pull the DMR and shoot him with the DMR. It's also best to pull the SMG out on shields, since you can, expend more ammo on a shield, and nice to pull it out on heavy units, light units. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. We do grab ourselves stable shot so we have more stability when using the DMR. We grab ourselves riflemen. We do a lot of aiming down the sights in this build, so this does come in handy. We grab ourselves ICTB playing the Armorer, while also grabbing ourselves Shock and Awe and Bullseye. We grab ourselves Underdog Ace for that possible 3-shot armor. Then we move over to Steady Grip for some more stability and accuracy, while also grabbing Surefire Ace. We grab ourselves the Sprint skills, and we also get Unseen Strike. Then we grab ourselves Frenzy Aced, while also getting ourselves Berserker and Pumping Iron for the dozers. The DMR I chose was the CAR 4. Obviously, as I mentioned, you can choose other things like the AMR-16, the M308. There's plenty of other options to go to. I grabbed the DMR barrel, pairing it with the bigger the better suppressor. And then I grabbed myself the accuracy increase.
Armor, nice, yeah, bro. Armor's pretty solid deck.
I grabbed myself the Emo foregrip, which is giving me an accuracy, stability, and damage increase.
To live and learn.
As for the gadget, I used the LED combo for stability.
For shots, especially with the DMR, it always will punish.
For the grips, we're using the Pro Grip. For receiver, we're using the thrust lower receiver. We bring in the speed pull mag. Obviously, you have multiple options to choose from here. I grabbed this Seymour sight. This one's purely optional. As for the stock, I go for the 2-piece stock, which is giving me accuracy and stability increases. For the upper receiver, I'm using the LW, which is giving me an accuracy and stability increase. And as for the secondary weapon, as I've mentioned earlier as well, you can choose pretty much any of the secondary SMGs. I personally just went for the 9mm blaster. We go for the Ghetto Blaster, which is giving us accuracy, damage, and stability increases. For the barrel extension, we're using the bigger the better for the accuracy stability increase. For the boost, we're using an accuracy. For the gadget, we don't really need the stability as you see, so we just went for the military. For the magazine, we go for the extended mag, which is mostly just for the magazine increase, but it is also giving us stability. Next is purely optional, but I use the Seymour sight. As for the stock, we do grab it, so we grab the 12 stability with it. I'd like to mention that this build was also featured inside of the 22 Perk Deck video. If you haven't watched this video, go give it a shot. It's got the hits concept, which is a great concept to understand inside of Death Sentence. For some reason we call this build the Armor M60, but it doesn't actually use the M60 weapon. You see, originally this build had the M60, but it just performs better with what it has now. So having an LMG helps crowd control. If you're a good enough gunner, you will understand how to effectively deal with crowds of cops and staggering them with shock and awe, dealing enough damage to them to naturally have them stagger and roll around on the ground. Killing prioritized cops that are aiming at you rather than just shooting at everything, and that's what's going to keep you alive. Now playing this style, which has the AK that has 75 rounds in it, it does have much higher accuracy than the LMG. It has 100 stability, unlike the LMG. You can aim down the sights, unlike the LMG. You can use your sight for distance shooting. You'll be able to aim down your sights faster because of the skills. You'll have the ability to reload quicker. You'll have, to reload more often than an LMG, but since it's much quicker, it's not going to be as, crucial to you. But with all that being said, you have 75 rounds being reloaded at a faster time than an LMG is getting, let's say, 200 rounds. But if you were to break it down, if you have 75 rounds being sprayed and then you have to reload your 75 rounds and you spray them again, that's essentially 150 rounds. But that doesn't, say that it's going to be faster than the LMG, or it doesn't mean that it's going to be faster or more better than the LMG. It's just putting it into perspective. So what I enjoy about using this build is that you have the ability to sustain the assault wave at a distance that will keep me from busting my armor in every engagement. Since I have the accuracy to hit them from range, you will mostly try to do all your fighting from range. While at close range isn't an issue with either the weapons that you're using, the primary can drop plenty of cops before you have, empty your mag, but the SMG has huge damage. The SMG I choose is 100 damage and I have the 79 bullets inside of the magazine. So the style is the same as the primary. You roughly kind of play like an LMG, but it's an SMG. So the SMG is mostly for dozers and mostly to refill your primary weapon. It is very useful to pull out if you're getting surrounded and you need to clear out some cops to make space to move, because as I mentioned, it's the more damaging weapon of the two. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. We grab ourselves Stable Shot for stability increase for both our weapons. We grab Rifleman for the snap to zoom. We do grab ourselves Underdog Aced for that possible 3-shot. We grab ourselves Iron Man for ICTB, with Rao grabbing Resilience and Shock and Awe, and Bullseye. I do grab myself Body Expertise. We'll mostly be shooting for the head in this build, but it is nice to have, damage be put onto the body. We grab ourselves Unseen Strike for extra damage, which is paired with our Zerk here in a moment. We grab ourselves the Professional, which is giving us accuracy and stability increase, and a snap to zoom increase. Then, as I mentioned, we grab ourselves Zerk with Pumping Iron for the dozers. And I'd like to mention real quick that the lock and load is in this build because you have two weapons that are using large magazines, so it'll make it much easier for you to play with them.
I'm dead. No, I ain't.
Now, honestly, your choices in primary here are multiple that have the quad stack mag, and multiple that can play the same method here. I personally just went for the AK, and I kind of designed the build around a Russian style. So we use the modern barrel for that 2 damage increase. For the barrel increase, we're using the Kxng long suppressor, which is giving us 12 accuracy and 4 stability. For the boost, we're giving ourselves an accuracy increase. For the extra, we do use the scope mount, which is giving us a stability. If you don't use the scope mount, your sight will be in the front of the gun, which is kind of just awkward to use. The foregrip we use is the Keymont rail, which is giving us accuracy and stability. For the gadget, I think we use the military LED for the stability. The grip, we're using the plastic AK grip, which does minus stability, but we're already at 100, so it doesn't really affect us too much. So, bonus to accuracy there. For the magazine, as we've mentioned earlier, you have, multiple guns that have the quad stack. I just went personally for the AK. As for sights, you have multiple options. I go for the Seymour, it's personal preference. As for the stocks, you have a couple options here that you can go through. I went for the classic wood stock, which is giving us accuracy and stability increases. Alternatively, you could go for something like the wooden sniper for more accuracy, but you're already at 100.
Yes, run. Die, bitch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody wants to hate on Damontae. Dude, I got 3-shot armor, boy. I got 3-shot Maniac, 3-shot Sozio. What you want to pull up on?
And as for the secondary, you could choose the other 100 damage SMGs, but we went for this one. We go for the bigger, better suppressor for accuracy stability. As for the boost, we go for accuracy. Since the gun doesn't actually reach 100, this accuracy does help us, but our skills will reach 100 when using the gun. As for the gadget, we use stability increase for LED combo. For the grip, we're using the plastic grip for 8 accuracy increase while keeping 100 stability. And as for the sights, it's purely optional. We go for the Seymour. The full crit CTV armor AR. We are using the CAR 4 for its concealment. The CAR 4 is pretty much like a versatile weapon. It plays a lot of different play styles. In this build, we have Zerk, so it makes the CAR 4 deal decent damage for common cops like heavies and light units, shields, things along this nature. But it does pack enough of a punch to deal with dozers. If you want to place yourself some distance between you and the dozer, and then once you pop the faceplate, you want to push the dozer so that you can deal more damage without missing your shots, that's more ideal in this build. This build uses full crits inside of 2-shot armor with the CTV. We pair Frenzy Aced with armor value of 181, which the Frenzy is changing 225 damage to 168. So inside the CTV, you actually have faster armor reach in, while still keeping 2-shot armor. You also get the ability to move faster. And inside the ICTB, sometimes if you make a mistake by running out into cover, or running out of cover, trying to get to a different place of cover, and let's say that you don't have enough speed to make it because once again you're inside the ACTB. Inside the CTV, you'll have much more noticeable speed, movement speed, so this situation may not really play out every time inside the CTV. You will have more speed, for, you know, when your armor breaks, when you do trigger 2 seconds, you'll be able to make that distance. While the ICTB, sometimes if you misjudge, if you're trying to push out and you break your armor, your 2 seconds triggers, but you just can't make it. The SMG secondary I use is the Micro Uzi. You're pretty much limited to the choices that you do here. It's mostly for concealing the CTV, for full crits, for the massive damage output, with the body expertise, the Zerk, all paired together. The Uzi is used mostly if you are out of ammo for the Car 4. The Car 4 deals the bigger damage output for farther distance, while the Uzi has faster fire rate and can deal faster damage at closer range. While the Uzi also is normally pulled out with dealing with close quarter cops, it has a slower reload. So if you get yourself put into a bad spot, and if you don't choose the correct positioning, and let's say you run your mag dry, these are the things that are going to get you killed. While if you choose the correct positioning and you try not to run your mag dry, that's the things that'll be a difference maker when playing.
That, my friends, is how you burn the drama meter.
Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. Inside the Mastermind skill tree, we actually grab nothing. Inside the Enforcer, we grab ourselves Iron Man Basics, so we have 181 as our armor value inside the CTV. We do notably grab things like Shock and Awe, Die Hard, Bullseye. We do grab ourselves Body Expertise Aced, so that our Car 4 can deal big damage. We grab ourselves Unseen Strike, pairing it with Low Blow, and grabbing the Accuracy Stability stack-ups with the suppressors, while giving ourselves Inner Pockets for concealment and Optical Illusions for concealment. And Optical Illusions plays very well inside of pretty much every build inside Death Sentence. And then lastly, we grab ourselves Frenzy Aced, while also notably grabbing Pumping Iron for the dozers. As for modifying the Car 4, you're pretty limited as to what you can do. For the barrel, I've chose nothing. For the next one, I chose the Medium Suppressor, which is giving me mostly stability and not much of a concealment minus. For the boost, we go for concealment. For the foregrip, we use the Emo grip, which is giving us concealment, stability, damage, and accuracy. For the gadget, we use the Compact, which is giving us no change. We use the Titanium Skeletal Grip, which is a DLC, but is giving us a concealment with a accuracy increase. For the lower receiver, we do grab the Thrust for the damage increase. As for the mags, we do grab Speed Pull. It's just more fitting to the build. As for the sights, purely optional, but I use the Seymour sight. As for the stocks, you're kind of limited to using the folding stock for the concealment value, so you have to grab it. But we still have 100 stability, as you see. As for the upper receiver, we use the LW for the accuracy and stability increase. And the same thing goes for the Micro Uzi here. You're pretty limited as to what you can do to it because of concealment reasons. So we had to grab the newer suppressor, which is a non-DLC, which is kind of almost like the medium suppressor in sense of stability and concealment, but it actually gives you more damage and accuracy. For the boost, we go for the concealment boost. As for the gadget, we use micro laser for no change. For the stock, we actually remove the stock for the concealment increase. If you guys decide to use this build, please let me know in the comment section, because this one is a little bit of an interesting build to say the least. And overall, as you see, it does have solo capabilities, it has DPS capabilities, it has everything that you really need inside of a build, outside of a larger armor value. You still have 2-shot armor, and you just don't have 280 armor. And with experience, armor is unbeatable. The Armor LMG 2-shot HP, 2-shot armor setup. Well, first things first, having an LMG helps with crowd control. With an LMG, if you are a good enough gunner, you will understand how to effectively deal with crowds of cops by staggering them with shock and awe, dealing enough damage to those cops to where they'll naturally stagger and like roll around on the ground. You'll kill and prioritize the cops that are aiming at you and shooting at you to keep yourself alive. We bring the KSP for 200 rounds with the high fire rate that it brings. We focused accuracy and stability so we can consistently spray 200 rounds if required. The KSP is one of the best LMGs to sustain an assault wave with, and it's also able to keep you in the fight and fight off literally whatever is pushing you or whatever you're pushing. So instead of grabbing Frenzy for damage reduction for possible 3-shot armor under certain factors for 225 damage, or having multiple light unit shots to the armor, we are grabbing the opposite and we are grabbing Hostage Taker with a Joker. This gives me comfortable 4-shot build. We use 2 seconds of armor invincibility when my armor breaks. The issue that tends to arise inside a Frenzy build is once your 2 seconds ends, and if you're not in a safe position, you take damage to the HP and then you die. Inside this build, you have an HP setup. You can offer that HP shot and stay alive in most cases. If the player isn't face tanking and just complete disregard for cover, you'll always stay alive inside this build. The advantage of HP armor gets is that if you do make a mistake, you can stay alive as long as you make the right moves after making the mistake, which is very important to identify the mistake rather than just screaming grace and typing in game chat about it.
Fuck that dozer, dog. I'm an armorer, I do whatever I want.
The SMG I use is a 100 damage CR. The gun is very stable for shooting, range shots. It is very helpful to pick up cops that are tagging you with shots at range. It is also really good for dozers because of the high damage yield that it has and the high fire rate that it brings. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. We grab ourselves Hostage Taker as mentioned earlier for the life regen, and we grab ourselves a Joker. We grab ourselves Stability Increase with Stable Shot. Inside Enforcer, we're grabbing ICTB with also staggering the cops with Shock and Awe. And we also grab ourselves the passive regen increases with Resilience, Shock and Awe. Also grabbing the Bullseye for the aggressive. We grab ourselves Body Expertise with Lock and Load and Surefire. And then we pair it with Unseen Strike for big damage outputs. While also grabbing ourselves Dire Need because we have the HP shot that can be given so we can stagger enemies. And then we also grab ourselves Optical Illusions because, as we mentioned, it's probably a really important skill to have in Sentence in pretty much every build. The KSP, I've made it based around accuracy and stability. So we grab ourselves the Long Barrel for accuracy stability increase. As for the suppressor, we're using the bigger the better, which is giving me accuracy and stability. We grab ourselves the bipod because why not? As for the boost, we actually grab ourselves the stability boost. We grab ourselves the LED combo, which is giving us a stability increase. And as for the stock, we actually go for the solid stock, which is giving us a stability increase. For the 100 damage SMG here, we grab the CR with grabbing the no barrel attachments. We grab ourselves the bigger the better suppressor for the accuracy stability. As for the boost, we go for the accuracy. As for the gadget, we don't need anything for accuracy and stability, so we just went for the compact laser. For the magazine, you have multiple choices here, but I go for the speed pool. It's just more ideal inside of a build that has an LMG that's a long reload. Might as well have something that's a little bit quick. For the sight, I'm using the red dot. Slight variation, it just kind of fits this gun a little bit better in my opinion. Purely optional. Armor LMG Frenzy 2-shot armor. This is the complete opposite of the HP based build. This build was also featured inside of this weekly builds video. Just like its counterpart of the HP build, having an LMG helps with crowd control. With the LMG, if you are a good enough gunner, you will understand how to effectively deal with crowds of cops by staggering the cops with Shock and Awe, dealing enough damage to them to naturally stagger them so they'll roll around on the ground, kill and prioritize the cops that are aiming at you and shooting at you to keep yourself alive. We bring the KSP for 200 rounds and it has a high fire rate, so we focused mostly accuracy and stability so we can consistently spray 200 rounds if required. The KSP is one of the best LMGs to sustain an assault wave, because if you're able to just fight off whatever is pushing you, or whatever you're pushing, that's what really is the difference maker here. We have Frenzy pairing it with Zerk, Body Expertise, and Unseen Strike for massive damage output. When using this setup, you can play the main DPS and post up in position on the attack. But since it's armor, you also have the ability to play very defensive positions and never have to move out of your cover, since anything that will come at you will die in a few shots. Since we have damage reduction, light units aren't dealing a lot of damage to you, so we prioritize heavy units and then deal with lighter damage. If you allow the light unit to shoot you like over 10 times, then yeah, you're gonna die. But clearly, you won't let something like that continue to just shoot you. It's just important because this is just a way for you to survive inside the Zerk setup. If you're focusing the larger damage values that are actually going to damage your armor enough to break that 2-shot, or you can just kind of let, certain enemies shoot you for a second and then you deal with the larger values. The SMG I choose was the small AK, aka the Kxng. It shoots faster than the CR, but in this specific film here, I'm actually using the CR. But we're using Zerk, so it'll push out big damage, which the result of that is that you're not taking as much damage because the cops are dead. If you're killing them faster than they can deal damage to you, that's the deal, that's the deal breaker. The main source of survival in Zerk setups is to kill the enemies faster than they deal damage to you or break armor values. It's that simple. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. I do grab myself Stable Shot for the stability increase and grab myself Rifleman. Next I grab ICTB for 2-shot armor. Then I grab myself Shock and Awe and Resilience for passive armor regions, while also grabbing Shock and Awe to stagger my shields and enemies. I grab Bullseye for aggressive armor regen, while also grabbing Body Expertise, Lock and Load, and Surefire, while notably grabbing things like Stability and Accuracy along the way. I grab myself the Sprint skills, Optical Illusions, and Unseen Strike, paired with Body Expertise, paired with Frenzy, Berserker damage, to make out a huge damage function for the build. We also grab ourselves the Professional for the accuracy stability increases as well. The KSP, I've made it based around accuracy and stability. So we grab ourselves the Long Barrel for accuracy stability increase. As for the suppressor, we're using the bigger the better, which is giving me accuracy and stability. We grab ourselves the bipod because why not? As for the boost, we actually grab ourselves the stability boost. We grab ourselves the LED combo, which is giving us a stability increase. And as for the stock, we actually go for the solid stock, which is giving us a stability increase. And as for the secondary weapon, we're using the Kxng. We bring the bigger the better for the accuracy stability increase. For the boost, we're bringing an accuracy increase. For the extra, we do grab the scope mount, because if you don't grab the scope mount, it puts your sight in the front of the gun. It's just a little weird up there. For the foregrip, we do grab the Moscow Special. Gadget, we use the LED combo for the accuracy, or for the stability increase. As for the grips, we use the plastic grip for the accuracy increase, but the stability minus still has 100 stability. As for the mags, we use the speed pull mag. Since we have an LMG primary, we want something that can reload fast as a secondary. As for the sights here, I use the Seymour sight, which will help me shoot my distance shots and hit my distance shots. And as for the stock, we use the classic stock, which has given me stability and accuracy increases. Alternatively, you possibly could do something like the wooden sniper stock, but you already have an accuracy of 100, you already have a stability of 100, so it's not really necessary. If you guys are interested inside the weekly build videos, you come over here to my YouTube, and you go into the second section here. We'll have a full playlist with all the build videos for the weekly builds. The Armorer CTV Akimbo build. And here's a huge shout out to my dude Mr. Bad for sending me this on live stream. It was months and months, maybe even a year ago at this point, but he is the one who had sent me this build, so props to Mr. Bad. This brings Akimbo SMGs for major DPS output. We bring Frenzy Ace paired with Zerk and Body Expertise with full crits for massive damage output. Now, one thing you have to be mindful of is spraying your ammo inside the Akimbos. It is very easy to shoot away all that you have, but you just need to be disciplined. The more that you're in control of the weapons, the better and the more confident you will be. Ammo bags and fully loaded are paired with the Akimbos, so I never run out of ammo. Also, the ammo bag provides safety to the player with using the bag, since I don't have to expose myself or get my armor busted when grabbing ammo boxes. This build uses full crits inside of 2-shot armor with the CTV, with Frenzy Ace paired, giving me an armor value of 181. The Frenzy changes the 225 damage to 168. Inside of the CTV, you actually are faster armor regen. You still keep the 2-shot armor as well, while also having the ability to move faster. Inside of the ICTV, sometimes if you make a mistake by trying to run out of cover into a different spot, you might not be able to make it due to the speed that you have. Because like, let's say that you bust your armor, your 2 seconds trigger, and then right before you get to cover, you die because you wasn't fast enough. While inside the CTV, you have a much more noticeable movement speed difference, so something like this doesn't normally always happen. While your secondary is limited, its biggest use is reloading the primary guns, but it doesn't mean it's like a bad gun or anything. It's very capable to deal damage and fight off the common cops. It's just its uses are to conceal the CTV and just to regen your ammo for the primary. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. We grab Stable Shot for the stability increase for the Akimbos, while grabbing ourselves Iron Man to make CTV 2-shot. While also grabbing things like Shock and Awe to make staggering shields much easier, instead of having to circle around a shield. As I mentioned, we do grab fully loaded so that we can keep ammo for our Akimbos, while also grabbing things like 2 ammo bags and Bullet Storm. Inside the Technician, we grab ourselves Surefire so that we can bust through the enemy's armor. And then we grab ourselves Crits, while also grabbing the Run skills and the Concealment skills so that we can make or build a crit build. And then lastly, we're grabbing things like Frenzy Ace so that we can make 2-shot armor inside the CTV. And then we're also grabbing things like the Akimbo skill so that we once again have more ammo inside of our Akimbos so that they're more easier to use and sustain inside the fight. And as for the weapons here, you can choose a handful of different Akimbos, but these are the ones that were fitting to the build. There is no barrel attachment, but we do grab things like the low profile suppressor. Next, we grab a concealment increase. For the foregrip, we grab the railed foregrip for the accuracy increase. As for the gadget, we're using the laser so that we have no change. We use the titanium skeletal grips so that we have more accuracy and concealment, while grabbing the thrust lower receiver. We grab ourselves the speed pull mag so that the Akimbos are just lightning reloads, while grabbing things like the LW receiver for more accuracy and stability increase. And the same thing goes for the micro Uzi here. You're pretty limited as to what you can do to it because of concealment reasons. So we had to grab the newer suppressor, which is a non-DLC, which is kinda almost like the medium suppressor in sense of stability and concealment, but it actually gives you more damage and accuracy. For the boost, we go for the concealment boost. As for the gadget, we use micro laser for no change. For the stock, we actually remove the stock for the concealment increase. If you guys enjoyed this build, please go show some love to Mr. Bad's channel. Sub to him, comment on some of his videos, show him some likes, please, because he's the one who has actually created this build. The Armorer Sniper build. To start it off, the crowd control ability inside of a sniper build is one of the best ways to fight off a crowd. If you can hit your shots with a sniper, proves to be the best at all ranges. We grabbed the Kxng sniper without the suppressor, with stacking accuracy and stability. Alternatively, you could just grab the contractor 308 for 20 rounds as well. The Kxng sniper I have is 20 rounds as well, with just upgrading the mag size. What I enjoy about using this setup is that the Zerk damage allows you to one-shot cops if the Zerked HP is there, which the Zerked HP will help you survive. You'll have one-shot kill ability on the sniper weapon if you choose to Zerk yourself at the start of a heist. Doing this will be part of your survival, since you'll be able to kill cops faster than they can shoot at you, and that's if you just don't miss your shots. The SMG I choose is the Uzi for the 90 damage pool, which helps a lot when pulling the gun on dozers. The damage is nice for heavy units too for the common cops, but it's mostly just to refill my sniper with using the SMG. But the SMG is very versed, you can use pretty much any of them as well. The 100 damage will definitely outperform the 90, but the 90 damage Uzi just has a little bit better ammo economy to play with. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. We do bring Combat Medic in case we do get Painkiller shouted to have multi-shot armor once we get shouted up. We grab ourselves Graze and the ammo efficiency skill. Since we're mostly hitting headshots, it's nice to grab 3 headshots and get a bullet back. We do grab Iron Man for 2-shot armor, while also grabbing Shock and Awe and Resilience for the passive regens, and also getting Bullseye so that we can have an aggressive armor regen. We grab things like the accuracy increases from Technician, while also grabbing accuracy and stability increases from the Ghost, while grabbing run skills and crits. High value target paired with Frenzy, Berserker, and Bloodthirst to have huge damage output. As for the sniper here, we're using the Kxng sniper, but you can use pretty much any of them. We're using the long barrel for the accuracy stability increase. For the boost, we're using an accuracy increase. As for the gadgets, you just can put pretty much anything, but we went for the LED combo. As for the magazine, we do go for the increase to 20 rounds. For the sight, purely optional, but I go for the Seymour. As for the secondary here, we do grab the bigger the better suppressor for the accuracy stability increase on the Uzi. For the boost, we grab ourselves an accuracy. For the foregrip, we do grab the tactical foregrip for the accuracy stability increase. Gadget would do the LED combo for that stability. Sight is purely optional, but I go for the Seymour. For the stock, you have a couple choices here, but I go for the ergonomic for the accuracy stability increase. If you play this build, and if you decide to change the sniper, please tell me which sniper that you changed it to. Armorer Shotgun build, which features the new shotgun. This is an interesting build here. The shotgun I choose has the ability to one-shot cops under certain circumstances, such as the Zerk and Overkill paired together, which we have a crits inside the build, which is giving massive damage outputs. Having the new shotgun's damage value and grabbing shotgun impact for the further damage increase on the shotgun, that gives you enough damage to one-shot kill under those damage increase situations. And not to mention, you have a drum mag with 43 rounds and possibly can kill upwards to 43 cops per bullet, or be able to kill more on multi-kills. We grab ICTB for 2-shot armor, but we have Underdog Ace for the possible 3-shot armor on the 225 damage. This makes for a slightly different playstyle since the normal is 2-shot armor breaks, but since you can work around a 3-shot armor break, this opens up the door for more aggressive plays and more aggressive pushes with the shotgun. I grabbed the Judge secondary with fire rounds to deal with shields mostly, but it comes in handy with dealing with groups of cops and maybe just a shield that's really far away. The Judge can hit things like snipers from across the map too and still take them out even after the instant fire burn doesn't do that further range damage anymore. But it still deals enough damage to take out snipers and some ranged enemies. If you shoot them twice, maybe is the idea. The shotgun build here essentially is the old meta. It performs really well under death sentence circumstances, and the biggest downfall is just the range that you can't deal massive damage to. So under that circumstance, the build is very situational on the map that you're playing. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. We grab ourselves Stable Shot for the stability increase for the shotgun. We then grab ourselves overkill for our shotgun damage, while also grabbing the underdog ace for 3-shot armor, pairing it with the bullseye ace for 3-shot armor, while also grabbing the ICTB for the 3-shot armor. Then I grab myself surefire to make my shotgun have AP buckshot, while also grabbing stability and accuracy. I grab the run skills, also getting optical illusions to grab unseen strike crits. With those crits, surefire, overkill, and berserker paired, it's almost like you're just ripping through the enemies with no cost of aiming. And as for the shotgun here, as we already mentioned, we have buckshot to give us up to that 100 damage value, but we also have buckshot being armor pierced with the surefire. As for the barrel, we grab the long barrel for the damage increase. The extension, we use the horizontal leveler so that our bullets and spray come out flat. It also gives us a damage stability increase. As for the boost, we use an accuracy minus. For the custom, we use the auto fire for the damage and accuracy minus. As for the LED combo for some stability here, we use the ergo grip for stability. We use no sight. We'll use the wide stock for more stability. The judge here doesn't have many options because I'm using a legendary skin, but you can use the Dragon's Breath rounds on the judge with any model that you're using, any skin that you're using. Essentially, you're just looking for the Dragon's Breath. This build here was the most satisfying to play. What do you guys think in the comment section? Did you guys try this build out? If you did, what did you think about it? This build is a silly build, but it has insane ability to play death sentence. We grab the Akimbos to be our main damage output. The Kxngs are one of the best guns to use in an HP based build. But since the damage they deal is enough to kill the cops effectively without having an issue of dumping ammo on kills, that's why we're bringing them. The secondary I use is a pistol revolver, which is mostly used for the ranged cops. But since we have pistol skills and we can get one-shot kills, and you can trigger the trigger happy skill, or just have crits triggered for the one-shot kills, it really does become effective for your ranged combat. This build at high has 25% dodge, 2-shot HP, and 1-shot armor, paired with 2 seconds of invincibility. With all these in your arsenal, you can have a bit of creativity to play around with when also playing inside the game. Since having 25% dodge, it is good to know that on that 25%, you can still dodge 4 bullets in a row on a 1/256 chance of happening. In most heists that are being about 10 to 15 minutes long, just keep this in mind, if the grace period is at 0.35, so if in a 1-second time period, you can essentially get shot 3 times for the 225, if 60 seconds have passed, you could possibly get shot 180 times. So just in 1 minute, you can almost get shot 256 times essentially. There you go. You can start to see where this picture starts to paint itself. If you know the probability chances, this is where it becomes better. So knowing if you have a chance to dodge 4 in a row and playing around with this knowledge can come in handy only if you're capable of knowing the probabilities, as I had just mentioned. All the chances possible on the dodge value that you have, and be able to identify which probability chance that you're on as well. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. We do grab ourselves first aid kits for the aggressive play on the move as the dodge build. We give ourselves Die Hard and Bullseye. And then we grab ourselves body expertise, mostly just for our primary weapons, and we do grab surefire, which is acting in both guns for the revolver and SMG. Accuracy and stability stack. We grab ourselves dodge, as we mentioned at the very beginning, and it's a sprinting dodge plus sneaky. We grab ourselves inner pockets and optical illusions for concealment, while grabbing more accuracy and stability stacks for the suppressor. We grab full crits, pairing it with the trigger happy skill and body expertise so that all of our guns have great damage output. We do grab ourselves Desperado so that we can reload the revolver quicker, and it is much more accurate after we hit a shot. But, just to mention, our gun is already 100 accuracy, so not exactly necessary. And as for the Kxngs, you obviously can choose different SMGs here, but these are the ones that I went for. We go for the precision barrel for the accuracy stability. We do grab ourselves the bigger the better suppressor for accuracy stability increases. For the boost, we go for the stability. As for the gadget, we do a LED combo for more stability. For the grips, I'm using the AK wood grip for 12 stability increase. And for the stocks, we keep the stocks on instead of remove them because we already reach enough concealment with the secondary. And as for the secondary, it is slightly different than what the video had shown, but since the video, I've switched the gun up a little bit, and this seems to fit the gun's playstyle a little bit more. We grab a concealment boost of +3. As the extra, we do grab the mounted scope so that we can put a scope on it. And that does nothing to the gun. For the grip, we do use the wooden ergo grip, which gives us a 4 stability. For the sights, I went ahead and gave myself a ×3.25, but obviously you can choose any of the sights that you want, or you can just optionally take it off. For the slides, I go for the overcompensating barrel for 12 accuracy, 12 stability. The upper receiver, we do use the slime lime body because the stability increase in the concealment given. And that concludes the best builds armor video. Now obviously, you can still work on multiple different ballistic vests. You can use the heavy ballistic vest for 2-shot. You can use the flak jacket for 2-shot. There's so many more options for so many more builds here, but these are the ones that perform the best and the most consistent out of my play styles and out of the ways that I tried. And I spent nearly a month trying this, setups for these builds, and these are the results that I got. So I hope you guys do enjoy the video. Please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe to me if you're new here. We have a weekly build series. We have this, which is a how-to series, more or less. It's just giving you the best builds with also teaching you how to use those builds. While the weekly build series is more of teaching you the perk deck and teaching you the build that I'm wanting you to play, which has been battle tested inside of Death Sentence on my stream for thousands of hours and has been battle tested in just every mission essentially that I can play. So once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and please let me know what you guys think about them.